A single interview answer. That is literally all it took to trigger one of the biggest controversies of the tournament. Just one seemingly harmless comment made by a young player right after the final whistle. There was no huge scandal, no crime, nothing like that. But it ignited this massive fallout that ended up pulling in players, their partners, and millions of passionate fans online.
At the 90th minute, the match ends in a 1-1 draw. Now keep in mind, João Neves actually had a fantastic game. He actually scored Portugal's only goal. So naturally, in the post-match media scrum, all the cameras flock directly to him. He gives his interview, and literally, by that very evening, a massive backlash is already brewing across social media. But what exactly did he say?
Well, when reporters inevitably asked Neves about his legendary teammate, Cristiano Ronaldo, Neves responded by saying Ronaldo was, quote, just another player here to help, and that he carried the exact same responsibilities as everyone else in the squad. On paper, right? It's just a standard team-first mentality kind of answer. He's emphasizing unity, but in the highly charged, super protective atmosphere of global football fandom, words carry very different weights depending on who's listening. Once those words hit the internet, the original context was almost entirely stripped away. A really highly vocal segment of Ronaldo supporters viewed Neves's quote as incredibly disrespectful. In their eyes, calling one of the greatest players in the history of the sport just another player was a massive slight. Almost instantly, this absolute tidal wave of criticism was launched online, totally flooding João Neves' social media feeds. Now here is where things take a much darker, much more complicated turn. The anchor didn't just stay directed at the player who actually gave the interview. The narrative suddenly shifted towards João Neves' girlfriend, Madalena Aragon. She became a primary target for all this online abuse. And what makes this a textbook case of misplaced internet outrage is that Madalena had absolutely nothing to do with the post-match interview. I mean, she wasn't on the pitch, she didn't speak to the press, but suddenly she was caught right in the crossfire of this huge digital storm. Unfortunately, as we know, the internet always seems to find a way to pour gasoline on a fire. We really have to look at the stark contrast here because it perfectly highlights why understanding misinformation matters so much to us today. The actual reality? Madalena Aragon was completely uninvolved. Someone out there deliberately engineered an edited screenshot claiming she had insulted Cristiano Ronaldo, specifically calling him narcissistic. This completely fake image was precision crafted to trigger maximum outrage among fans who were already upset. The anatomy of how this harassment went viral is honestly staggering. First, step one, the fake screenshot is created in the shadows of the internet. Step two, it spreads like absolute wildfire across social media platforms. But the real catalyst happens next in step three. Georgina Rodriguez, Ronaldo's partner, reacts to the viral post. Because of her massive platform, millions of people suddenly saw this fake screenshot, fully believing it was real. And her unintentional amplification leads directly into step four, severe real-world consequences. And those real-world consequences represent the true human cost of digital misinformation. Because of the sheer volume of harassment, Madalena was forced to disable her Instagram comments entirely. I mean, just imagine waking up to thousands of hateful messages over something you literally never said or did. It's a really sobering reminder of how rapidly an angry online mob, armed with totally fabricated evidence, can impact someone's daily life and mental well-being. So how do you even handle a situation like this when the pressure reaches its absolute boiling point? So looking at the big picture, what we've explored today is how a standard, completely ordinary post-match interview mutated into this massive international incident. It implicated players and their partners who had absolutely nothing to do with the actual game. It ignited these highly organized fan communities. And most importantly, it was actively fueled and sustained by deliberate social media misinformation. It's a fascinating, if not slightly terrifying case study of the modern World Cup experience off the pitch.